I swear, Sameer, if that thing comes near us tonight, I'm putting a bullet right between its eyes.
Don't waste bullets on shadows. Wait until you see its eyes first.
And then, as if summoned by their words, the silence shattered. Snow crunched in the darkness. The fire sputtered as a massive shape emerged from the ridge. It stood taller than any man. Its fur white as the snow, its eyes glowing red like embers. Its breath came in clouds of steam, each exhale carrying a low growl that rattled their bones. Shuvam shouting, raising his rifle.
Sameer, it's real! It's right there!
Sameer said, raising his rifle.
Hold your fire. Wait.
The guardian roared. The sound tore through the mountains, echoing like a storm. Snow fell from the cliffs above, shaking loose in small avalanches. Shuvam fired a shot.
Take this, you demon!
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Story on Friday, where we bring you some of the most wonderful tales from Bengali literature. Today, I've got a brand new story for you, The Last Ascent. Sameer and Shuvam are at the heart of this tale, climbing not just mountains, but the trials life sets before them. Their journey begins right now. This story is entirely my own creation. If it happens to resemble any real person, it is purely coincidental, and I ask for your understanding. Now, let's begin The Last Ascent.
In the frosty silence of Kalpa village, the wind carried a strange stillness. Snow blanketed the earth, and mist rolled down from the towering peaks of the Himalayas. Sameer, a young detective with eyes sharp as blades but weighed down by hidden grief, stood on the wooden balcony of a lodge. Whispers had spread across the village. An entire team of climbers had vanished. They had gone chasing the legend of an unknown creature said to haunt the icy ridges. None of them returned. Sameer unfolded a letter from his coat pocket. The ink had smudged slightly from the cold, but the words still rang heavy. Our friends went after the cursed shadow in the mountains. They never came back. You are the only one who can find the truth. Beside him stood Shuvam, his closest friend, adventurous and fearless, a man who laughed in the face of danger.
So, here we are again. The mountains call you back. Ready for another hunt, Sameer?
After reading the letter, Sameer became serious. He replied,
I don't choose these mountains, Shuvam. They choose me.
And thus began their perilous journey into the white unknown. The climb began before dawn. The village still slept under its blanket of snow, but Sameer and Shuvam were already trudging up the frozen trail, their boots crunching over ice. They carried ropes, lanterns, and rifles, tools of men who expected more than just weather to confront them. The wind howled, carrying strange echoes, as if voices hid inside the storm. Shubham said while gritting his teeth,
Remind me again, Sameer, why do we always pick the hardest trails? This mountain looks like it wants to eat us alive.
Sameer was so much focus and calm. He replied,
Because somewhere up there, people disappeared. If we want answers, we can't walk the easy road.
By mid-morning, they found the first sign. Half buried in snow, a torn scarf fluttered weakly in the wind. Sameer picked it up, brushing off the ice.
This belonged to one of the climbers.
Shubham said seriously this time.
Then we're on the right path, or the wrong one.
A few hours later, they came upon the ruins of a small campsite. The tents were shredded, claw marks carved deep into the canvas. Snow had covered much of it, but the story was written clearly. Sameer said quietly, almost to himself.
No avalanche did this.
Shuvam asked seriously, gripping his knife.
Then who did?
The mountains gave no answer. Only the wind, whistling through the pines like a ghost, as the two men pressed deeper into the wilderness where no ordinary hunter dared to tread. The storm forced Sameer and Shuvam back to Kalpa before nightfall. Inside the dim glow of a village tavern, the air was thick with smoke from pinewood fires and the murmur of hushed conversations. The villagers avoided their eyes, as though afraid to speak of what haunted the peaks. At the corner sat an old man, his wrinkled hands clutching a prayer wheel, his eyes glimmering with unease. Sameer approached him quietly.
You know something about the mountain, about the missing climbers.
The old man whispered tremblingly.
They were foolish. The mountain is not to be challenged. There is something up there, something that guards the snow.
Shuvam said.
What is it? A bear? A snow leopard? Tell us clearly.
Old man said, shaking his head violently.
No, not of this world. We call it Rakshak, the guardian. It is older than our gods. Whosoever seeks it does not return.
The tavern fell silent. Even the fire seemed to shrink at the mention of the name. Sameer thought to himself.
The climbers were searching for it.
And they paid the price. If you value your lives, turn back before the snows claim you too.
Shuvam exchanged a glance with Sameer. His eyes gleamed with reckless excitement, while Sameer's were shadowed with concern.
Guardian or no guardian, I say we find out for ourselves.
And if it's real, Shubham, we'll have to face it.
Outside, the wind rose again, rattling the wooden shutters. It was as if the mountain had heard their words and was waiting. The next morning, the mountain greeted them with silence. The storm had passed, leaving a vast emptiness of snow and sky. Sameer and Shuvam began their ascent once more, ropes cutting into their shoulders, rifles strapped against their backs. The higher they climbed, the thinner the air grew. The snow crunched underfoot like brittle glass, and the peaks loomed above like white tombstones. Shubham mumbled as he exhaled loudly.
Feels like we're climbing straight into the mouth of death.
Sameer replied in a steady voice.
Then let's hope it spits us back out.
Hours passed. The sun sank lower, casting long shadows across the slopes. Then ahead of them, half buried in ice, they found another trace. The torn remnants of a journal. Sameer picked up the journal and started reading aloud.
Day 7. We followed the tracks again. Not human. The beast is close.
Tomorrow we go further.
Sameer's fingers tightened around the frozen pages. The ink blurred with frost. Shubham was tensed and whispered,
So they weren't just chasing shadows, they really found something.
A sudden sound cut through the silence. A howl, deep, echoing, rolling across the cliffs like thunder. Both men froze, their breath turning to steam in the air. Shubham took out a knife from his pocket and said,
Tell me that was just the wind.
Sameer immediately picked up the rifle and said,
No, that was alive.
From the ridge above, a dark silhouette shifted against the snow, too large for any wolf, too swift for any bear. It disappeared just as quickly into the white haze, leaving only the echo of its roar. And in that moment, both men understood. The Guardian was real, and it knew they were coming. The night fell quickly on the mountain. Shadows lengthened, and the silver moon cast a cold glow across the snow. Sameer and Shuvam built a small fire in a hollow beneath the cliffs, the flames flickering against the stone. But even the warmth of fire could not ease the tension that coiled in their chests. Somewhere in the white vastness, the Guardian moved. Shubham said restlessly,
I swear, Sameer, if that thing comes near us tonight, I'm putting a bullet right between its eyes.
Don't waste bullets on shadows. Wait until you see its eyes first.
And then, as if summoned by their words, the silence shattered. Snow crunched in the darkness. The fire sputtered as a massive shape emerged from the ridge. It stood taller than any man. Its fur white as the snow, its eyes glowing red like embers. Its breath came in clouds of steam, each exhale carrying a low growl that rattled their bones. Shubham shouting, raising his rifle.
Sameer, it's real! It's right there!
Sameer said, raising his rifle.
Hold your fire. Wait.
The Guardian roared. The sound tore through the mountains, echoing like a storm. Snow fell from the cliffs above, shaking loose in small avalanches. Shuvam fired a shot.
Take this, you demon!
The bullet struck, but the beast only staggered, its roar growing louder, angrier. It charged, faster than anything so large had a right to move.
Shuvam, down!
They dove aside as the Guardian's massive claws ripped into the ground where they had stood. The fire was snuffed out, leaving only the pale light of the moon. For a brief, terrible moment, Sameer locked eyes with the creature, and in those burning crimson depths, he did not see madness, but purpose, as if the beast were not hunting, but guarding something. Before it could strike again, a rock slide thundered down the slope, separating man from monster. When the dust cleared, the Guardian was gone. Shuvam breathing hard and said,
Did you see that, Sameer? We just looked the devil in the eye and lived to tell it!
Sameer felt haunted, but regained his composure. He said,
It wasn't the devil. It was something older, something waiting.
The mountain held its silence once more. But the memory of those eyes burned in their minds. The first encounter had ended, but the real hunt had just begun. Dawn broke over the mountains in pale gold, but the night's encounter lingered in their bones. Sameer and Shuvam followed the tracks left in the snow. Massive footprints, each pressed deep into the ice. The trail led higher, past jagged ridges and across frozen rivers, until at last they reached a yawning black mouth in the mountainside. A cave, vast and silent, exhaling cold air like the breath of the earth itself. Shubham said, half laughing and half whispering.
So this is it. The devil's front door.
Sameer said as he studied the cave walls.
Not a devil, Shuvam. This is where it lives. Maybe where it's always lived.
They lit their lanterns and stepped inside. Shadows danced across the stone, revealing strange markings carved deep into the walls. Spirals, symbols, figures locked in eternal struggle. Shuvam running his hand across the carvings.
These aren't random, Sameer. Someone put them here, long before us.
Warnings. Stories. The villagers said the guardian is ancient. These carvings prove it.
The deeper they went, the louder the mountain seemed to breathe. Drips of water echoed like footsteps. Every sound was doubled, magnified, until the cave itself felt alive. Then they found it. Remnants of the lost climbers. Torn packs, broken lanterns, and scattered journals frozen into the ice. Sameer knelt down and said in a heavy voice,
They made it this far, but they didn't make it back.
Shubham held his rifle tightly and said,
Which means the thing didn't let them leave.
Suddenly, a sound tore through the silence. A low, guttural growl, echoing from the depths. The lanterns flickered as the cave shook with vibrations. Shubham was tensed and whispered,
It's here, Sameer.
Stay close. Whatever happens, don't run.
The growl deepened, rolling like thunder. From the shadows ahead, two crimson eyes flared to life, glowing with ancient fury. The guardian had found them. The cave trembled as the guardian emerged from the shadows. Its massive frame brushed against the stone walls, its eyes glowing like embers in the dark. Sameer and Shuvam stood frozen, rifles raised, hearts pounding. Shubham whispered,
One wrong move and we're finished.
Wait! Look!
The guardian did not attack. Instead, it stopped a few paces away, its breath heavy, its gaze locked on them. For a fleeting moment, Sameer felt something, an intelligence behind those crimson eyes. The beast stepped aside. Behind it, the lantern light revealed an opening deeper within the cave, a hidden chamber. The guardian growled low, almost like a warning or an invitation. Shuvam was confused and whispered,
Sameer, it's not stopping us. It's showing us the way.
It isn't just a beast. It's protecting something.
They edged past the creature, every muscle taut with fear. The chamber beyond was vast, its walls glittering with ice. At its center lay something astonishing. An ancient altar, carved from stone, buried for centuries beneath the mountain. Upon the altar rested relics, bronze masks, cracked scrolls, and bones wrapped in cloth. Sameer said,
This is older than any record. A lost civilization.
And that thing? It's the guard dog of history.
Sameer touched the carvings on the altar. They told a story. The story of a tribe that had once thrived in the mountains, worshipping the guardian as a protector, a keeper of their secrets. But when outsiders came seeking power, the tribe vanished. Only the guardian remained. Sameer said softly to himself,
The climbers weren't hunting a monster.
they were hunting a legend, and they paid for their greed.
Shuvam turned, staring at the massive beast that still loomed in the shadows. For the first time, fear shifted into something else: respect.
Sameer, this thing isn't our enemy.
No, but if we're not careful, we'll become its next offering.
The cave went silent again, the guardian's breath the only sound. The truth had been unearthed, but truth always comes with a price. The chamber's air grew heavier, as though the mountain itself pressed against their chests. Sameer and Shuvam stood before the altar, their lanterns flickering weakly, while the guardian lingered at the edge of the shadows, watchful, restless. Shuvam said,
We should leave, Sameer. Take what we've seen, tell the world, and get out before that thing changes its mind.
No, Shuvam. If we walk away now, the story will vanish again. This is history. This is truth. Someone has to preserve it.
He reached for one of the scrolls, its surface cracked, but still legible. But the moment his fingers brushed it, the cave roared to life. The guardian bellowed, a thunderous sound that shook loose chunks of ice from the ceiling. Its crimson eyes blazed brighter, and it stepped forward, claws scraping against the stone. Shuvam alarmed, pulling Sameer back.
Are you insane? It doesn't want us touching them.
Sameer realized, staring at the beast.
These relics, they're not just history. They're sacred. This altar is a grave.
The guardian roared again, the sound echoing like a warning across centuries. Sameer raised his hands slowly, showing he meant no harm.
We don't want to steal. We only wanted to understand.
The beast paused, its breath heavy, its gaze unblinking. For a moment, it seemed to study him, testing his intent. And then, from deeper in the cave, another sound rose. Shuvam said,
We're not alone.
Footsteps, voices. 3 men stepped into the chamber, rifles raised, their faces hard. Outsiders, treasure hunters who had followed Sameer and Shuvam's trail.
Well, well, looks like you two did the hard work for us. Step aside. Those relics belong to us now.
The guardian snarled, its massive frame rising to full height. The air trembled with its fury. Shuvam started muttering, gripping his rifle.
Oh, they have no idea what they've just walked into.
The chamber was no longer a tomb of silence. It was a battlefield waiting to ignite. Men with greed in their eyes on one side, an ancient protector on the other, and Sameer and Shuvam trapped in between. The chamber pulsed with tension. On one side, the intruders, rifles aimed, greed burning in their eyes. On the other, the guardian, its massive form hunched, claws scraping stone, crimson gaze fixed on the trespassers. Treasure hunter leader, sneering.
Shoot it. Bring it down.
The crack of gunfire split the air. Bullets ricocheted against the cave walls, sparks flying. The guardian roared, its voice shaking the earth itself. In a single bound, it crashed into the men, a blur of fur and fury. Shubham jumped in, screaming to save Sameer.
Sameer, get down!
One hunter was torn aside, his scream swallowed by the mountain. another fired wildly before the beast's claws silenced him forever. The third man stumbled backward, eyes wide with terror, before the guardian's roar sent him fleeing into the dark tunnels. The chamber stank of blood and gunpowder. Snow drifted in from cracks above, falling like ashes on the dead. Shuvam breathing hard.
God in heaven, it's slaughtered done.
No, it defended what was sacred. They were warned by this mountain, and they ignored it.
The guardian turned then, its glowing eyes falling on Sameer and Shuvam. For a heartbeat, it seemed ready to strike them too. Shuvam raised his rifle instinctively. Sameer said,
No! Don't! Lower it!
The beast's breath steamed in the cold air, hot and furious, but it did not move closer. Instead, it let out a deep, guttural growl, a warning, and stepped back into the shadows, vanishing once more into the labyrinth of stone. The silence that followed was crushing. Shuvam's voice was shaking, but forcing a grin.
Well, at least we know whose side it's on.
Not ours, Shuvam. Not theirs either. It only serves the mountain.
Blood stained the snow at their feet, and as the last echoes of battle faded, Sameer realized the mountain had made its judgment clear. Those who came for greed would die, but those who sought truth still had a chance. The echoes of gunfire faded, swallowed by the cavern's breath. Snow drifted from the cracks above, landing softly on the lifeless bodies of the hunters. Sameer and Shuvam stood in the eerie stillness, their lanterns trembling in their hands. Shuvam said,
Sameer, we have to get out before we end up like them.
If we leave now, the truth dies with us. No one will ever know what lies here. The guardian, the altar, the lost tribe. It'll all vanish into legend again.
And if we stay, we'll vanish with it. This mountain doesn't want us here.
Sameer turned toward the dark passage beyond the altar, a tunnel descending deeper into the earth. The air seeping from it was colder, heavier, carrying whispers that seemed older than time.
But the answers are down there. I can feel it.
Shuvam clenched his fists, torn between fear and loyalty. For all his bluster, he could never abandon Sameer. Not here, not now.
Fine. If you're going, I'm coming. But if that thing shows its face again, I'm putting lead in it.
They lit fresh torches and descended into the passage. The walls closed around them, jagged stone dripping with frozen water. Their footsteps echoed, doubled, as if the mountain were mocking them. And then, the whispers grew louder. Not wind, not echoes, voices, strange layered voices that seemed to seep from the stone itself. Shuvam whispered,
Sameer, tell me you hear that too.
I hear it, and I think it's them, the tribe, the ones who came before.
The tunnel widened into a hidden chamber. Here, frozen in crystal clear ice, were figures, men and women of the lost tribe, their bodies preserved as though asleep. Their faces were peaceful, their hands folded over their chests, guardians of their own secret tomb. Shuvam gasped, his breath fogging in the cold.
Dear God, it's like the mountain itself kept them alive.
Not alive. Remembered. The guardian wasn't protecting treasure. It was protecting them, their story.
As their torches flickered across the ice, the whispers swelled, an ancient chorus that seemed to rise from the frozen dead. The mountain was speaking, and the weight of its truth pressed down upon them. But in that moment of revelation, the ground trembled. Stones rained from above. The cave was shifting, as though the mountain itself had decided that outsiders had lingered too long. Shuvam yelling, grabbing Sameer's arm.
Sameer, the whole place is collapsing. We need to move.
And in the darkness, echoing over the roar of falling stone, came a sound that froze their blood. The Guardian's roar, closer, angrier, more desperate than before. The descent had brought them to the heart of the secret, but it had also brought them face to face with the full wrath of the mountain. The earth groaned, stone splitting, ice crashing down in sheets. Sameer and Shuvam stumbled through the collapsing tunnel, their torches sputtering. The whispers of the frozen dead rose like a storm, swirling with the roar of the Guardian. Shuvam was shouting over the noise.
The mountain's burying us alive!
Sameer breathless, pushing forward.
Keep moving. There's still a way out.
The ground quaked, splitting open in jagged cracks. And from the shadows ahead, the Guardian emerged, blocking their path. Its crimson eyes burned brighter than ever, its roar shaking loose the very ceiling. Shuvam raising his rifle.
This is it, Sameer. It's not letting us leave.
No, if you fire, we're finished. It's not just rage, it's warning us. The mountain is coming down, and it wants us gone.
But the beast stepped closer, its claws slamming against the rock, driving them back toward the chamber of ice. Dust and snow fell like ash. The frozen tribe seemed to watch in silence, their glassy eyes gleaming with the reflection of the torchlight. Shuvam snarling, fear breaking into defiance.
Then tell me what you want, monster! Speak, or kill us!
The Guardian let out a roar that shook their bones. But this roar was different. It was not rage. It was sorrow. A howl of loss, echoing through centuries. Sameer stared, realizing and dawning.
It doesn't want us to die here. It doesn't want their story to die here. Shuvam, it's telling us to carry the truth.
The beast stepped aside at last, the tunnel behind it crumbling but open. The choice was theirs. Escape with their lives, or stay and be buried with the secret. Shuvam panting, gripping Sameer's shoulder.
Sameer, we can't save the mountain. We can't save them, but we can save ourselves.
The chamber shook violently, ice shattering, the frozen tribe cracking apart. The Guardian let out one final earth-shaking roar, turning its back to them. As if bracing itself against the mountain's wrath. Sameer whispered,
It's staying to protect them, even in death.
With a heavy heart, Sameer pulled Shuvam toward the collapsing tunnel. Behind them, the mountain roared and the Guardian's shadow loomed, standing defiant against the avalanche of stone and snow. It was the last stand, not of men, but of a beast that had carried the weight of memory for centuries. The tunnel thundered with falling stone as Sameer and Shuvam clawed their way upward, snow and ice cutting their faces. Behind them, the mountain roared like a living thing. A blinding flash of white, then silence. They burst out of the collapsing cave, stumbling into the open snow. The air outside was bitter and thin. but it was life. They had escaped. Shuvam collapsing into the snow and start gasping.
By God, we made it. We actually made it.
Sameer staggered to his feet, turning back to the ridge. The cave mouth had vanished beneath tons of rock and snow. Somewhere beneath it, the Guardian still stood, or had been buried forever with its secret. Sameer said softly in a broken voice,
It stayed behind to keep them safe, even to the end.
Shuvam placed a hand on his shoulder, his voice quieter now, stripped of bravado.
Sameer, no one will believe what we saw. Not the climbers, not the beast, not the tribe. To the world, it'll just be another avalanche.
Then let it stay a legend. The truth belongs to the dead and the mountain.
The wind howled through the peaks, carrying the faintest echo of a roar. Sameer closed his eyes, hearing not rage, but a song of mourning, a guardian's vow, sealed in snow and silence. Together, the two men began their descent back toward Kalpa, their figures small against the endless white. They carried no trophies, no relics, only the memory of crimson eyes, frozen faces, and a beast that chose to stand where men could not. The mountains swallowed their footprints behind them, and high above, hidden by cloud and storm, the secret slept again. This was not a victory. This was survival. And for Sameer, it was enough. You've been listening to The Last Ascent. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to share it with your loved ones. And remember to like and subscribe. Turn on the bell icon too, so you're the first to get our latest stories. That's all for today. I'll be back soon with another brand new story. Take care and stay well.